The Rugby League World Cup final has been decided, with Australia taking on England this weekend to see who will be the best team in the world. The two semi-finals were on the weekend, and one was marred with controversy, sadly, with Tonga coming home strongly against England, but being denied victory in the last minute by a controversial call by referee Matt Cecchin. Now, Will, you sent out a tweet through the week. Basically, the issue is not that the decision was right or wrong. Yeah. The issue is that he didn't refer it to the third referee.
Yeah, 100%. Like with that tweet, I stand by it 100%. I'm not going to delete it or anything like that. So that was exactly how I was feeling at that time. It was right at that time when that decision happened. I just thought it warranted, you have a look at the aftermath of that game, the emotion that everyone was showing. For him just to go, done. Doesn't even warrant to go up to the video ref. I just thought it was just a bit of arrogance, and it was a bit. I just don't think it was needed.
So you think he ruined the whole World Cup by that one call?
Yes, he's ruined my World Cup. He's ruined Tonga's World Cup. I think England were the better side for 76 minutes, and then Tonga come back, and he did ruin my World Cup. So not the World Cup, maybe the World Cup if you're a Tongan supporter.
It was a big call to say he ruined the whole World Cup. You've got to think how much power social media has.
Oh, big time,
I thought it was a little bit harsh, to be honest. And I think we need to be really
I can't take it back, but...
Well, you can't take it back. You put it out there in the public domain, and you got to stand by what you say. So I think Matt Cecchin... I'll be careful what I say here. I thought he made the right call. I definitely think...
I don't think there's an argument that it was the right call.
The right call with not going up to the thing?
Hang on a minute.
Yes.
I agree that he should have went up to the third referee, to the video ref. Now, there's a few things that you put into perspective here for me. Elliot Whitehead, I don't believe he played at the ball. His hand did hit the ball, loose carry, regathered, scores. If that's in the Super League, that's a try every day of the week. So if he went up to the video ref and there was an English guy in the video ref box, he awards that try. Yeah. But see, that's the different interpretations of the two games with Super League and NRL. Matt Cecchin's got his interpretation here in the NRL, and the English have a different interpretation. I've seen a lot worse tries be awarded in the Super League. Do
you think he would have known that he was an English ref and maybe would have overturned it? Do you reckon if he went up to the video ref and you looked at it? Because I think people like the crowd and fans are underestimating the skill of these players.
Yep.
You go for the ball in a situation like that.
Yeah, I honestly,
honestly think you'd have to be stupid as a current player or as a player who's just retired to think that Elliot Whitehead wasn't going for the ball. Like he was going for it. That was his only play, and he made a massive play.
Yeah, I think. Look, it wasn't as clear cut as actually trying to knock the ball down. He's going to take. It was a desperate tackle to try and take Fifita down. Now his hand has hit the ball. Now,
Firstly,
it has, and it's come loose. But I still believe that that's a loose carry.
Yeah, it is.
It's a knock on, and he got the call right. What I don't agree with is not going up to the.
Well, we're on the same. We're exactly the same.
I just think if you look at it from the perspective of rugby league, now this game, the whole controversy now is about whether or not he sends it up. Now, if he sends it upstairs, it's probably knocked back. It's the same result, but everyone can just calm down.
Well, if it's an English third umpire, he gives that try.
Yeah.
I guarantee you. Then
and he was English.
Well, if he was, then that was a try and Tonga would be in the World Cup final. But then the controversy would be England got robbed. Now, I get how much passion. It was a feel-good story of the World Cup, and I'm super proud of the Tongan people and the Tongan team for doing so well for not only Tonga, but all the Pacific nations and any second-tier nation for that matter. But in the scheme of things, I think Matt Cecchin's been a bit hard done by. I think the decision was right, and the better team went through.
Do you think putting Matt Cecchin on the sidelines this weekend, sort of shows that he did make the wrong decision? Otherwise, he's supposed to be the best ref in the world, but he's not ref in the World Cup final.
Or not necessarily the wrong decision, but didn't follow the processes that were set.
Well, look, everyone's saying that he went and checked so many different other tries throughout the game, and then he didn't check that last one.
Yeah.
So, look, everyone's going to hate on the ref.
Yeah, you can't.
No matter what, they're the bad guy from the start. No one likes the referee.
To be fair to him, he's probably the best ref in the world. It's
Absolutely.
just a shame
to be fair, this one decision might mark him forever.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, England played better than Tonga for
73
minutes.
Yeah.
For 7 minutes, Tonga just woke up and just went ballistic.
Yeah.
It was the best 7 minutes of football I've ever seen. It was the best atmosphere of football I've seen, bar Origin semi-finals and stuff like that. and grand finals, you know. So Tonga had their chances to win the game. Don't get me wrong. Don't just go on this one play. There was chances there. They were giving penalties away. They were just playing ill-disciplined football, you know. So you can't just really blame Cecchin for this whole thing. But the whole point is he should have went up to the video ref. It shouldn't be on him. The game is a lot bigger than himself, you know. Like, I'm not saying that it was revolving around him, but who are you to go, all right, boom, it's all over. You know, like, you got a whole, like, I know it's been a feel-good story. The Tongan, you know, little Tonga's been unreal, so proud of him. It's been such a great story, and that's what really killed everybody.
That's what eats at
everyone. That's what eats at everyone. It's like, damn, go to the video ref. You should give him a chance. That's all we wanted was a chance, you know, like, and everybody was behind Tonga. Look at that crowd, you know what I mean? The singing and everything, like, everyone was so emotional. So everyone was making emotion. That tweet that I made was all emotion.
All based on emotion.
Yeah, it wasn't rational thinking, but that's the way I was thinking at the time. So fuck it, you know, like, I don't care.
There's a petition at the moment that's got over 60,000 signatures, and that's been set up by the time. I mean, it's never going to actually overturn the decision, but it just shows how passionate people are about this. And to be honest, we talked about Tonga carrying the World Cup on its back, and again, it's just showing the passion that these people have got.
It's proof in the 60,000 signatures on a petition that they did carry the World Cup.
Within what, 3 or 4 days, they got that much.
Well, I mean, exactly, and I've been pretty critical of the whole World Cup logistics the whole time.
That's one thing they got right.
That was the only game. That was the only game they got right, and Tonga doing well.
Yeah.
So the World Cup organisers should be jumping on the back of Tonga as well, because logistically it was a fast.
Anyway, they nailed the logistics of this game. Yeah, this was one of the best games I've seen, regardless of Tonga getting beat and the final little thing there. You know, like, England played great. You know, they defended their asses off.
Yeah.
They went 80 minutes with Tonga, bar the last 7 minutes, which just showed how much strike power Tonga has.
In any game, in any sport around the world, you know, obviously there's crowds at 110, 120,000, but to see a stadium just painted red, flags, singing like that, there's no atmosphere like that.
I don't think
better than that around the world.
No.
It can't be.
And a lot of players that have played, you know, Origin and Test football and grand finals were saying that it was up there better than that.
Yeah.
Just for that moment right then with the singing and all that kind of stuff. You know, it just made everyone so emotional.
So where to now for Tonga? I mean, that's the $64 million question. You look at Taumalolo, Fifita, the sacrifices that they've made. Now what?
This is interesting because I know Wolfie's come out and said they need to have more Pacific tests for these second-tier nations to grow, more tests against New Zealand, because they've only got one test next year, and that's against Samoa.
Why wouldn't they be playing against New Zealand?
Well, now they've off the back of this, they have to go back to the drawing board and go, all right, we need more tests, we need to grow these nations. Does Taumalolo go back and play for New Zealand?
These guys have made such a big standing, like even Fusitu'a, Takeaho, Fifita, Taumalolo especially, Manu Ma'u, all these guys, they've gone, you know what? I'm playing for Tonga. That's a big step, and I just hope that, and they've made so much ground in the world game. I don't want them to go back and play for New Zealand and Australia.
I don't think they will.
I don't think.
No, you got to think of the financial benefits. And you're only in the game a short period of time, and nothing's going to change anytime soon for this second-tier nations to get the money that Australia and New Zealand are getting. That's just a fact. They're not going to get paid as much. They're not going to get anywhere near as much. So you're only in the game a short period. You've got to think, what's best for my family? What's best for me financially? 50 grand to play for Australia, plus the match payments, maybe more. You're costing yourself probably close to 100,000 a year.
Like, you don't think they can sit back now and go, all right, you know, Fiji, Samoa, Tonga, they've come up in leaps and bounds in the last 4 years. Do they not at least get half? I know they're not going to get as much as Australia. Australia's been the best country in the world forever. I think they deserve at least half. They're getting paid $30 a day, Ren.
Yeah, I know. Look, that will improve.
That's got to improve.
But I don't know where the funds come from for this World Cup. Obviously, Australia is the #1 rugby league country, so the ARL has got the funds to be able to pay these players this amount of money. New Zealand Rugby League are the same. Obviously, they're not on the same scale as the Aussies, but the Australian Rugby League can't turn around to Samoa, Tonga and Fiji and say, all right, you guys have all this money as well. It has to come from the islands. It has to, everything that's built for these nations has to come from the islands. And we know what the islands are like with the politics back there. When, you know, and in the past, money's gone missing.
We've got to get the administration. It all starts from the top to bottom, and we all know that. And hopefully, this sends a message to the whole, to the whole of the islands. You know, just get the proof is in the pudding in this World Cup. There's so much talent in the islands, and throughout the NRL, something needs to happen.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was disappointed that Tonga lost because I think it would have been just an unbelievable story.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's as I said, it's a shame that it finished the way it did. The other game was probably not as close. Fiji a little bit outgunned there by the Australian side. We did a live stream, which was a lot of fun. I vaguely remember the end of the game, but I'm pretty sure that Fiji copped a bath by the end of it. But yeah, look, Australia did put a show on.
They flexed their muscles on the whole World Cup and said, look, don't forget about us. We're the best nation. We've been the best nation for the last 100 years. So, yeah, I think, you know, it was valiant effort from Fiji. You know, they ripped in. They didn't stop trying, but they just got outclassed. You know, their forwards just ran harder. You know, their backs, everything like that. Billy Slater, Valentine Holmes, 6 tries. You know what I mean? Like, he's serious.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, with 1 try.
Unbelievable.
He's 6 in 1 game. But I mean,
11
like,
tries in 2.
12. I think he's got through the whole thing.
Well, yeah, 12 all up maybe, but it was definitely
he just
11
beat Wendell's
in 2 games.
record.
Yeah,
He's
five
beat-
in
6.
He's beaten Wendell Saylor's record for the World Cup. So
Wendell will be heaps happy with
yeah,
that.
Wendell will be filthy. But yeah, I don't think Australia.
Well, congratulations to Fiji anyway. Like,
It wasn't, yeah, that was
you know,
great.
that's just another nation that's. They've been, like I said a couple of weeks ago, they've made 3 semi-finals now.
Yeah.
You know,
You
they've,
throw Corbin Sims and Tarek Sims into that mix, and a Kane Evans. You know, they'll mix it good with Australia. They had some
They
real young
struggled
back
up front.
rowers. They had Braden Villiamy in
Yeah.
the back row, who's a centre, who played outstanding. But I mean, like you get some senior players within that pack, and then it just strengthens that bench up because their second stint wasn't as good. You know, the guys coming off the bench, they just weren't having that impact, and you can't get 80 minutes out of them big boys out there. So, you know, it was a massive effort from them blokes. But you know, their next World Cup for all the islands, you know, look out. I'm looking for massive, probably improvement on that. It should be one of them second-tier nations now in the final, hopefully.
One thing that we talked about that I vaguely remember was that Wade Graham sat on the bench for, I think it was 60 minutes, 65 minutes.
55 to 60 minutes he sat on the bench.
I mean, do you think, was that did he get forgotten about? Was it a tactic?
it's a pretty common theme now with most NRL teams. They'll only play 16 players.
Yeah.
The 17th player is like almost like an 18th man.
But who do you pick there?
Yeah,
Because I was
look-
arguing about, I was thinking, do you put a Munster there to come on and he can fill any position? You go with 3 props and then you go with a Munster. Or do you go with 3 props and then a back row, a lock, 5'8" sort of player like...
Well, it's changed in the past. You know, you always had the Craig Wing on the
Yeah,
bench or
the
the Kirk
Gidleys.
Gidley. You had that utility to cover those roles.
Yeah.
But now they're going with a bigger bench, and the players these days are so skillful that they can cover certain positions, whether they're back rowers
But then you
or
can move
backs.
Cameron Smith all around.
Absolutely.
And,
So what I said before is that most NRL coaches are just playing with 16 players, and the 17th guy is almost like an 18th man. He'll get limited time.
Yeah.
It's getting the most out of those 16 players, and you're just there to cover that position if you're coming in. It sucks. I've been on the end of it at Canterbury in 2014 where I was only getting 7 minutes, but I understand what the coaches are trying to achieve in that role. You know, Wade Graham, imagine him.
Well, you're like a Wade Graham yourself. You can you can see that.
He can cover back row, halves, centres. So, like, Mao will stick with the core of the team for the majority of that game, and then if Wade Graham's needed, he'll bring him in.
Yeah, it does suck, but I think obviously he'd be telling Wade Graham before that, so that's why you don't see a Wade Graham sitting there unsettled or anything like that through the first half. And then in the second half, you can see him getting a little bit fidgety, knowing that he might get that last 20 minutes, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
That's obviously that's the relationship with the coach that comes in there, and Mal's great at that. You know, he'll come in there and tell you, but if you don't get told by a coach, I've been in situations like that where a coach hasn't told me, I'm fucking lost it that much. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
you sit on the bench. It's happened to me once when I've sat on the bench more than half the game. I nearly lost it. At least tell me, mate.
Cowboys?
I sat on the
No, I was at the Dogs when I was younger with folks. I was like,
Yeah,
mate, what's
right.
going on? I sat on the,
I sat on the
50 minutes.
bench for 73 minutes in Canberra in the middle of the winter. My toes were frozen.
I hope you had long pants on. Well, I reckon one of the stories of the World Cup for me has been the rise of Regan Campbell-Gillard.
Yeah, he's my
I mean, he
man.
wasn't even going to be in the side until Fifita pulled out and went to Tonga. And yet the way him and his moustache were playing on the weekend...
It's a beautiful caterpillar.
It's an amazing moustache, but he is just so tough.
I think that was a game he needed against Fiji.
Yeah.
Because if he didn't play, he's Fijian. You know, he's played for Fiji before. So you see him coming off the bench, off the back fence, and just smashing into it. And he was copping contact big time from the Fijians every time he ran the ball. And that's what I want to see him doing exactly the same thing against these Poms.
Yeah.
Because they're going to come at you. They've got that big Walmsley prick coming off the bench, and he's a monster. Like, he's 6'6", 6'7", and he's been monstering teams. So I want Campbell Gillard. Obviously, I think Mal and all the boys would be getting into him, going, mate, he's your man. Take his head off in the first, whenever you get on. Go on at the same time, go head to head, and it'll be a great battle.
After the two semi-finals are finished, and obviously the final comes up this weekend, has the World Cup been a success?
Better be thanking these blokes behind us. Big time. We've said it from the start. You watch every single sports show, everybody like that. They've all said the same thing. You know, we're all pro Australia here, and we're all going for Australia, but like, we expected them to be in the final. You know, we didn't expect Taumalolo to play for Tonga. We didn't expect Fifita. We didn't expect half them blokes. But this little nation of ours, you know, they've come up, they've made big decisions, and they've rose to the top. You know, so I think the World Cup should be thanking Tonga for the success it's had. And we're still talking about this now. Yeah. No one's even talking about the England and Australian game. We're talking about this decision that the Cecchin cat couldn't make.
Well, good on Tonga.